Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Roll call, please.
Mayor Calabrese,
Present.
Councilor Fascio,
Present.
Councilman Waldron,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Sapp. And Deputy Mayor Sapp is joining us by phone this evening. Councilman Crestus.
Present.
All present?
May I have a motion for item number 3, approval of the minutes?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Crestus.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the June 17th, 2024 minutes.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Waldron,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp, Councilman Crestus,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese.
Yes.
The June 17th minutes are approved.
Thank you. May I get a motion for item number 4, ratification of expenditures and reports?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Fascio.
I'd like to make a motion for ratification of the July warrants in the amount $3,339,754.08 and approval of the August warrants in the amount $4,327,343.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? I just want to point out to the public, and so we are doing 2 months because we take a summer recess. We took a summer recess, so the business still continued. So we're ratifying. All the bills were paid, and everything continued. So that is why we have 2 months in a row. Roll call, please.
Councilman Waldron,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp, Councilman Crestus,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio.
Yes.
Okay, July and August expenses are approved. Next on the agenda is the portion dedicated to comment on non-agenda items. And so the speakers that appear on the agenda signed up at least a week in advance to bring their issue to council. When I call your name, please approach the podium. You can approach either one. Please speak closely to the microphone so that your comments can be recorded. And also, please state your name and your address clearly so that it can be recorded into the minutes. First is Florence Smith. Is she here this evening? She is not. It doesn't appear so. If she appears by the end of the meeting, we'll revisit that. Greg Swachik.
For those of you who haven't been to our council meetings, I would just like to point out that this portion is public comment. People come to the microphone, you state your name, your address, you're given 3 minutes to speak. We typically don't have a back and forth, but you're certainly free to contact any of us. Sometimes council members will comment at the end of the meeting, but right now this is the public gets the floor at this particular point in time. And our meetings may seem quite formal to you, and they are because we're making a record, so you'll notice that we make a motion, we address by name, so that when the record, because although we all know each other, the record has to reflect who it is that's making the motion or seconding the motion or so forth. So just for those of you who are new to our meetings.
Thank you, Mayor. Greg Swatchik, 648 Gramick Lane. Thank you very much for the opportunity to again speak with you this evening. I submitted a handout that I'd like you to please pass down that I can refer to. Basically, this handout is self-explanatory. Since I don't really have time in 3 minutes to adequately thank the Penn Hills Police Force for their due diligence, as well as other people that you can see we've made efforts relative to private roads in Penn Hills, especially in the wake of Google, with the nav systems. It's a few lines of software to make sure that private drives are not considered in the routing if the destination target address is not on the private roads, i.e. it's a shortcut. So people are in a dilemma whether to believe a private drive do not enter sign or believe Google. They should believe the sign, drive a little bit, and it'll do recalculating. In yellow, you can see that I'm formally asking the manager or somebody on Penn Hills letterhead, maybe the solicitor, to have some authority and write Google to not only take care of this matter with the road I live on, which is really a private driveway, it's not a road, as well as any private road in Penn Hills. Quite frankly, they should do it for the nation. So I think we need a Penn Hills letterhead, and I'd like a final disposition on that. I don't know what the status is. Maybe later in the agenda when you see the conduct of meetings resolution, it'll prevent a lot of these sort of stop and go again things where we really don't know what's going on. We submit legitimate things. We not only we don't create the problem, we recognize it, we submit viable solutions, and then it's crickets. We hear nothing. This happens time and time again. So this specific example is all well laid out in this. I have a bunch of other stuff to go over, but I'm probably real close to ending my 3 minutes. I'll try to save it. Some points I'd like to make for the resolution of changing the conduct of the meetings. It's all germane to that, really. The rest of my comments, as my letter indicates, for the opportunity to speak. But I wanted to nail this if I could. And you could read it at your leisure, and I would like somebody to get back to us. But again, the Penn Hills Police have done an excellent job. They were responsive. And I just wish we could follow through with the manager issuing some kind of letter. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to deal with him. McIndoe, our old manager, we could do that. And when people would come up and suggest something, the mayors in the past and council people would say, I'm sure the manager heard you and we'll get on to that, we'll get back to you. So it's a directive to, do work. I hear no
Mr.
directives.
Swatchik, your 3 minutes are exceeded.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manager.
Next on the agenda, Winona Harper. She is not here this evening. Ashley Blakeman. Great. And I just want to remind you that it is 3 minutes, so try to tailor your comments. But we won't start the clock until you're at the podium.
Alrighty, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me the time to come and speak. Mayor Calabrese, it's nice to see you. Manager Andrew Jack, it's nice to see you as well. My name is Ashley Blakeman. My address is 500 Hershey Road, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15235. I am a Penn Hills resident, Penn Hills homeowner, business owner, parent of four young ones who are in the Penn Hills School District. And today I'm coming to you regarding the Penn Hills Youth Football and Cheer Association. Just to introduce to you all who the organization is, we've been around for several years now. We are a little league organization. We currently house about a little over 170 youth, and you'll see that reflected in the handout that I presented a little over 170 youth, ages 4 to 14 years of age, and we have about 28 to 30 adult or young adult volunteers who provide at least 220 community service hours within each football season. So, bringing this information to you all, I just wanted to introduce ourselves, introduce our organization. Initially, when I provided the request to come and speak for public comments, we were in the midst of what seemed to be a public health crisis. At this time, the circumstances has changed, and Manager Andrew Jack, we've spoken before about that. Greatly appreciate the support there. But our organization has a history of being involved with many community-led events, community engagement within Penn Hills and outside of Penn Hills as well. Along with the handouts that I provided, I'll also leave some as well. If any of the congregation would like to see the handout that I provided, it's just really a one-sheeter of what our organization does. But along with that, I also received a letter of recommendation from the maintenance director who was servicing us at our last facility. Each time we would leave that area, either the playing, practicing, or the game field, he gave us a letter of recommendation, and at this time it has been, we're in a different position now. We're no longer in the position that we were when I submitted the request. So, as I am on the agenda, I didn't want to leave it blank. I still wanted to come and introduce myself. Thank you all for your time that you've provided to us. If anybody has any questions, our organization is really big on integrity, respect, discipline, dedication, hard work, and violence reduction, and also etiquette. Mayor Calabrese, you are aware that we are huge on violence prevention, but also just raising our youth up to be productive members of society. So I just wanted to come and kind of fill the position that I had with speaking on the agenda today. Thank you so much for your time, and we're looking forward to continuing the partnership that we have with the municipality. So thank you so much. We are Penn Hills family. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Larry Chobe. I think you've got the rules of the road by now. It's 3 minutes, and make sure you give us your address as well.
Well, I hope I don't
And
hear
if
that
you could
long.
speak closer to the microphone too.
How's that?
Actually, a little closer if you could.
It's Larry Chobe. I live on 183 Spring Grove Road. Of course, Penn Hills, 15235. I came here to talk a little bit about the library. Just to give a rundown on it first, it's just to give you some sense of the volumes and the statistics that we actually use. In the first 6 months of this year, circulation was over 157,438 items. Circulation is a librarian talk. They call it CIRCs. Checkouts, check-ins, renewals, and holds. 157,438,000. E-resources, 30,668, for a total of nearly 190,000 items that were taken out in the first 6 months of the year. The one striking statistic that strikes me, though, is the number of new library cards that were issued in the same period. There was 1,000 in 6 months, and it's kind of striking as the community is pretty stable population-wise. So there's something that's got to go in a positive way. There were 7,400 incidents where children participated in a program. So anyways, that's the statistics. I do want to mention, though, if anybody's interested, the Pittsburgh Live Today or Pittsburgh Today Live that follows KDKA in the morning, they came up and interviewed us at the library. And if you want to see it, there's a link on the webpage at the library. Now, one of the reasons why I came, though, I did want to talk to you about a grant opportunity for renovation or construction. And I'll read it. It's a Pennsylvania Department of Education Office of Commonwealth Libraries is accepting applications from eligible applicants for grants to improve the physical facilities of public libraries. The Keystone, this is the critical part, I suppose. The Keystone grant application will be accepted for municipalities in cooperation with the library. So our intent is to send you an official letter to Mayor and to Scott, asking if we can begin just some sort of discussion over this. The timing on this is October 17th. It has to be submitted. But I thought maybe we can come together and get something going. But they do want the municipality involved, the library not doing it on its own. Then one other issue is, we always intend at the library to comply with all our obligations. That's the library bylaws, the existing memorandum of understanding, and the management agreement with Penn Hills Municipality. And of course, with Penn Hills Charter where it applies, and in addition, the federal government and state, we want to do that one as well. At this point, we really are, as far as I'm concerned, in compliance. The only thing we're short right now is our bylaws say we should have 7 board members. At this point, we only have 3. Back in May, we advanced a campaign, and we had nearly 30 applicants apply to fill the vacancies. And we used the ranking system.
Mr. Chobe, I'm sorry, the 3 minutes are actually up, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. Marion Safek? Sepsek?
I'll go closer to the ground. Is this all right? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Marion Sefcik. That's Sefcik. I live at 350 Laurie Drive, 15235. My husband and I have been residents of Penn Hills for over 50 years. I'm here tonight as the president of the Westinghouse Arts Academy Family Teacher Organization to ask the council to intercede with the Penn Hills School District on behalf of 46 Westinghouse Arts Academy students who reside in Penn Hills and need their school bus transportation restored. As you may be aware, the school district announced on July 12th that they would no longer provide bus service to 2 Propel high schools, Life Mayo STEAM Academy, Environmental Charter School, and Westinghouse Arts Academy, and would instead provide PRT passes for students in grades 6 to 12 to these schools. On August 7th, the decision was reversed for Propel and Life Mayo STEAM after Propel CEO Tina Chekin contacted State Representative Natalie Mihalik. It was not reversed for Westinghouse or Environmental Charter. I contacted Representative Joe McAndrews' office, as did several other families, but our calls were never returned. Penn Hills Superintendent, and I'm going to murder his name, John Mazzocchio, told WPXI that the decision impacts only a handful of families. As I mentioned, there are 46 families in Westinghouse alone. I think that's a little more than a handful. A letter from Mr. John Zahorchak, the Penn Hills School District Director of Operations, stated that student safety was one of the factors taken into consideration. I find it difficult to see how this is safe for students. Our students must walk from their home to the nearest PRT bus stop and then take 1 bus inbound to the busway in Wilkinsburg, and then transfer to an outbound bus to reach the school. Many of our students, most as a matter of fact, would be leaving their home as early as 5:30 in the morning, depending on where their PRT stop is located. As you are aware, most of Penn Hills residential areas do not have sidewalks, so students would be walking on the road. At that hour of the morning, regardless of the season, it would be dark, and not all roads are sufficiently lit for walking. In good weather, the walk from my home would be 30 to 40 minutes, but longer if it's snowing or raining. In addition, Penn Hills is cherry-picking select charter schools with their decision as they continue to provide regular bus service to all private schools, all parochial schools, and select charter schools. Mr. Zahorchak stated in an interview with WPXI, our priority, and I'm quoting, our priority, and I'll say this repeatedly, is to transport district kids first. So I guess if you don't attend a Penn Hills building, a private school, a parochial school, or a select charter school, you are not a district kid.
So typically at this point in the meeting, we would move to the next agenda item because this is public comment. However, I have received many calls about this, so I knew that the room would be filled tonight. It's always good when we sit up here in council and we prefer an empty room because that means we're doing things right when nobody's here to complain. But I have had multiple calls and many people reached out to me. And so I am going to respond at this time, although this is out of order. The reason I'm doing that is because I need to let you know that we are the municipality of Penn Hills, which is a separate and distinct body from the school district of Penn Hills. You may know that because you get two separate tax bills. I did reach out to the school board president, and she said that, I'm just reading this, that is a done deal. They can't change it. The State Department of Education told us that they had to do it. So however I understand why you're here. So, as the municipality, as council, we're typically charged with roads, bridges, running a budget, those sorts of things. But having said that, I can't let this go, right? I have to address this. So two things. If we look at this completely on paper and we look at it as a financial matter, about half of the kids who live in Penn Hills don't go to the district. So we do recognize that the charter schools and the other schools give individuals an option. Some people may think that if it's difficult for a charter school, then the children will go to the district. However, looking at it just from a financial standpoint of view, it seems that people either will leave the district or they won't come here. And frankly, to be completely candid on a fiscal level, Penn Hills is intentionally a bedroom community. We don't have a large business district. That's the way Penn Hills was set up. So our revenue source is filling every home. That's what we do up here. Up here, we're running a budget, right? But we can't turn a blind eye to the fact that these are children. These are our neighbors, our friends, neighbors, and relatives. And when you really think about it, as the speaker said, to think about students walking on the road, and no matter what time, it's going to be dark, and they've got to take 2 buses. So although I spoke with the board president and essentially her hands are tied, she said she reached out to the Department of Education. I suppose what we could do, although you have to understand we have no authority to do anything, we could, if council is willing, we could reach out to state officials. We haven't discussed that, but I do think that each of us up here has, we've heard the speech. We are more than just a budget. When it comes down to it, we all live in Penn Hills as well. So, I don't know where we'll go with this, so I'm literally just putting this out there right now. Again, let me emphasize, we have no power or authority over the school district. The school district is bound by the Department of Education. The best that we could offer is to reach out to state officials. I guess I'll just go down the line. Mr. Waldron, would you be willing to, if we did a letter, do you think that would be a good idea, or do you have an alternative?
Honestly, yeah, I mean, we can start there. But I just do want to say that my daughter actually graduated from Westinghouse Arts Academy. She relied on that busing. We drove her there in the mornings, but she took the bus home. So I 100% understand where you're coming from. I would be in the same position as you are had that happen on her time. I don't quite know why this decision was made, or if it was a school board decision or not. However, I will say that I don't believe in punishing children for decisions of adults. So, piggybacking what the mayor said, we don't really have any power over the situation, but we can do what we can to at least make our voices be heard.
Councilor Faccio.
I would really welcome the opportunity to try to engage, at least in a discussion. Not to be repetitive, we don't have an official role, but if simply getting more information and exploring other options might be a possibility, I'd certainly be in favor of that.
Thank you. Councilman?
Yes,
Christensen.
I'm 100% open to the idea. Can't imagine how anyone could think a 12-year-old girl going on a bus down to Wilkinsburg transferring twice is safe for that individual, so certainly. Let's see what we can do.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Sapp?
Yes, I'm in agreement with the rest of the council, and I think that whatever council can do to reach out to our congressmen and our other state legislators, that we can certainly begin to write letters and do that. And hopefully we can even have some open dialogue. But again, we are a council and we represent the municipality, and the school board is its own entity. But certainly whatever council can do, we are definitely looking forward to doing so. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I don't think you heard in the beginning, she said she's in agreement, but I think the context said that. So I think what we can do is as one body here, we'll craft a letter and everybody will make sure everybody's okay with the wording of it. And if it's a matter of money, we can reach out and ask for more funding. I can't imagine what other reason it might be, but certainly, as Councilor Fascio said, there may be some other reason. So I think the best we can do is we will absolutely, craft a letter. Okay, having said that, again, we went off the board here because this is, you've come to us and we're the wrong body, but someone does have a question. I will take one question, then we'll move on.
She has to.
I understood you correctly, that you said this.
Can you please come to the podium?
Since I'm the one representing the school, I wanted to get my ducks in a row. Did you say that the school district told you that they were told by the state to drop the busing?
Yeah,
Is that the information you were given? I'm not saying you're giving me wrong information. I'm asking if that was the information they gave you.
The information I have is that it came from the State Department of Education. So again, I don't know, but as I say, we are a separate entity. We have no authority. We can just reach out.
We understand that. We were just hoping to get someone to intercede with us because they won't listen to us. They will tell you that no one from Westinghouse, I'm going to get emotional here, no one from Westinghouse contacted them, and that is so not true.
Well, that may be a misunderstanding.
But the point being, our other question is, just for your information, if you're going to do a letter, is why restore the other charter schools and not us? What makes our kids different? They're still Penn Hills residents. Their parents still pay taxes. And to be honest, and I have nothing against, I'm all for anybody sending their kid to whatever school they want to send them to. But they're not getting funding for the parochial school kids. They're not getting funding for the private school kids. They are getting a certain amount of funding for the charter school kids. I understand they have to turn the majority of what they get from the state over to the charter school. I understand that, but it's not 100% of the money they get. And they're still getting the subsidy to transport the kids regardless of what school they're going to. I don't like these 46 kids being made to feel that they're not good enough to be put on a school bus because they chose to go to a charter school. I'm not going to say a better school, a different school. They chose to go to a school that offered them what this school district could, what the school district here could not. Performing arts, creative arts.
Thank
so
you.
I just want to make it clear that I don't want to take your time up. I understand that. I thank every one of you for being willing to put your name on a letter, because if the state realizes that this is going on, maybe there will be some changes made at the state level. But in the meantime, unfortunately, tomorrow morning, those kids have to start walking those roads and getting on those buses. And in some cases, the buses here, depending on what bus you get on, doesn't even go to Wilkinsburg. You've got to go all the way into East Liberty. And one family told me their child has to go all the way into town in order to make the transfer. So
Right, we just...
I thank you for doing what you can do. We appreciate it, because nobody else has been willing to even take its shot at it for us. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much. May I get a motion for item 6A?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Waldron.
I make a motion to ratify Resolution 6A, 2024-30, authorizing the submittal of an application to the Economic Development Tourism Fund for playground improvements at Penn Hills Community Park in the amount of $82,828.75.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? I'm sorry, you have to come up to the... You understand we're two separate entities?
I
Okay.
do understand. My name is Steve Clary. I reside at 441 Billy Drive, Penn Hills, PA, 15235. I think this township blows too much money on things that don't need done and could drop it into the education. I get it as two different entities, but the two entities should be working together as one team. So why don't we save $80-some thousand on a playground that's going to get destroyed and put it into our education and our transportation for our kids, rather than letting our kids get on a city bus where they could get molested with drug dealers. They could get kidnapped. My children go to Propel. Unfortunately, luckily, I won the battle and I was on the news. I spoke with you personally a couple weeks ago and today. My thing is, I don't care whether you're one entity, two entities, five entities. We are Penn Hills. We are a whole. Our taxes go to both. I don't care if they're separate tax bills or not. My tax dollars go, and so do these people here, and their children's safety should be first over blowing money on bull. I'm very outspoken. I hate this town anymore. I grew up here. I've resided here for 42 years. Can't wait to sell my house and get out of here because it has been ran into the ground by both the school district and certain council over the years. So I think it's time for everybody to get together, whether it be state, local, and federal, and have one big meeting and sit down, because Aaron Vecchia, president of the school board, is lying to every single one of you up on that bench. They had a secret meeting June 25th to cancel all charter school buses. Did not tell the public. But we want to go out and blow $85,000 on a playground that's going to get destroyed in a year. And whoever our state rep is, McAndrews, whatever his name is, his staff and him personally should be working with you guys as well as the Council of Penn Hills, because he is our Penn Hills state rep. I have not received a call back. I have been personally threatened by two of his staff members. So tell me, how are we working together? I don't want to hear we're separate entities. We need to come together as Penn Hills and get the school board to all new members so they stop stealing our goddamn tax dollars and buying Cadillacs.
That's out of order.
I don't care if it's out of order. I'm an outspoken human being that pays my taxes. You work for me and them. Thank you.
So again, this is public comment. We typically don't have a back and forth, but I do, because I said make an exception, because this should be before the school district and not us. So we are attempting to work with state officials. That's why we said we would reach out to them. Just to point out, this money is a grant money. It is specifically, when you have these sorts of funds, funds can't just be intermingled. There are certain funds that can be only used for so many such purposes. So even if we wanted to, we could not write a check over to the school district for this funding, just to be clear. I'm sorry, we can't hear you. We're not going to do back and forth. I was just pointing out that this money it can't be used interchangeably. Any further public comment? Please come up.
This is public comment on Resolution 2024-30, authorizing submittal of an application to Economic Development Tourism Fund for playground improvements at Penn Hills Community Park in the amount of $82,828.75. That's what we're taking public comment on at this point.
Okay, I'm just gonna last comment on the school bus issue. Everyone who is in here is a
Ma'am,
parent.
you have to
Just one
say
last
your,
thing.
no, ma'am, you have to, ma'am,
Please,
you have.
everyone attend the school board
Ma'am.
meeting on Wednesday
Vince.
evening, the 21st at 6 p.m. Everyone, we all need to be there.
Ma'am, you can say that, but you need to state your name and address,
I'm sorry, okay.
and you feel free to say
My
that.
name is Veronica Lavender. My address is 133 Webster Drive.
Okay, and
Please attend the meeting, everyone. That's it.
Thank you.
thank you.
Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. at the elementary school.
We really do have a formal protocol here, so if you have a public comment, as we've said, you have to come up, state your name, address, and speak on the issue. Any further public comment on Resolution 2024-30? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Councilman Crestus?
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese?
Yes.
Councilor Fascio?
Yes.
Councilman Waldron?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp? Okay, Resolution 30 approved.
May I get a motion for item 6B?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Fascio.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-31, approving a tentative agreement with Professional Association of Paramedics, IAFF Local 5167, for 2023 through 2026.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? I just want to say we truly appreciate, Penn Hills is one of the last places that has a professional staff like this. And whenever we come to these agreements, that means both sides have agreed. So I'm very, very proud of the work that they do. I thank them for their service, and I'm so happy that we were able to come to an agreement. Roll call, please.
Mayor Calabrese?
Yes.
Councilor Fascio?
Yes.
Councilman Waldron?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp?
Yes.
Councilman Crestus?
Yes.
Resolution 31 approved.
Thank you. May I get a motion for item 6C?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Crestus.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6C, Resolution 2024-32, approving an agreement with Don Cunato Body for towing for September 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2027.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second?
Thank you. Any public comment?
Resident, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, could
Resident.
you repeat that? It didn't pick up.
My name's Angel Kuhn. I'm resident at 12432 Frankstown Road. I'm also a business owner at 227 Sanding Creek Road. I just wanted to ask, being I am the vendor that we are awarding tonight, essentially, why that it was going from a 5-year term to a 3-year term. The research that I've done for the last 8 boards, it was a 5-year term for the last 8 contract renewals. So I was just curious why we were going from 3 to 5. I did put that on my proposal as well at the top.
I would just suggest that we're not really, this isn't really the time to have an interactive sort of Q&A, but I think what I would say is that this year, or at least this go-around, there were changes made to the process that included an issuance of an RFP. So the RFP that went out, it reflected the desire of the municipality with the terms and conditions that were stated in it, that being one of them. So the best answer I could give you as to why did the RFP, excuse me, why did the RFP, the request for proposals, ask for vendors to supply information on a 3-year term? It was because that was the desire of the mayor and council to issue it that way.
What made the desire change? It
Well-
just seemed odd that it was, for majority of the contract, it was always a 5-year term. So whenever it went to a 3-year term, I just wanted to know why that desire changed.
Are you withdrawing your proposal?
I am not.
Okay.
I never said that.
Okay, I was just wondering because.
It was a question. They asked for public comment, so I asked the question why we're going from 5-year to 3-year. But Scott, if you would like to discuss that off the record, that's fine. But I'm not withdrawing a proposal. That would be taboo.
My understanding that it was subject to a RFP this time, and I think that was the way that the bid spec, where the RFP was written, as for a 3-year contract with a 2-year option. That's
I'm
my
understanding of that. I was just curious why, but if there's no answer, that's perfectly fine.
I don't have that answer.
Okay, thank you.
Can you repeat? Can you say something into it?
Yes, there it goes. Thank you. Greg Swatchik, 648 Gramick Lane. I wasn't going to speak on this. I didn't realize it was on the agenda. I remember her before when Sarah was mayor. I think that's her mother, Sarah Kuhn. Or okay, well, you worked there, I guess, or something.
Could you
Excuse me, this is out of
direct your
order.
comments
Okay,
to
I'm
the board?
sorry. I want. Thank you, Mayor. You're absolutely correct. I just, as you emphasize, we are recording something for posterity and potential use, and I should not have assumed that there was a known relationship of any people that I wasn't certain of. I do remember her. I believe I remember her, and it could be pulled out of the transcripts, trying to defend Sarah Kuhn and Dawn Kuhn and their business to maintain a continuing 5-year renewed contract. And when you were running for mayor and she was mayor, you had a lot of back and forth from the audience with her. There was a lot of misunderstandings, and you were citing that you're not accusing of anything not going out for bid, but it's the appearance of an impropriety. I don't think that she got that at the time, what you were alluding to. But, you know, the meeting was conducted differently than when you were in the audience. So I don't know if there's old history here regarding when Sarah Kuhn was mayor and you were poignantly emphasizing that as she defended, there's nothing wrong, I'm not doing anything wrong, and you kept saying, I'm not saying you did, I'm not saying you will, but there's what I'm referring to as the appearance of an impropriety. And you kept talking over each other. I just distinctly remember that. So since this seems to be the same thing, but you're not here, you're there, I just wanted to point that out for the record because it was part of the record, and I have a very, very, very good memory, and I try to get the facts right. I do apologize for assuming a relationship, though. So I don't know if that's relevant or not, but I don't like to sit on anything that could be relevant. Thank you.
It's absolutely not relevant, and again, this is not back and forth. However, any time that I am brought up in a comment or any of the council members are, we should be given the opportunity to respond. I have nothing but the greatest respect for former Mayor Sarah Kuhn, and I'm not suggesting she's ever done anything improper. So, frankly, if that's what the implication is, that didn't come from me. I have the greatest respect for Sarah Kuhn and the Kuhn family. Any further public comment? Any comment from council?
Yes, Mayor. Just quickly, I do want to thank the manager for putting out an RFP. I thought it was a very clean, professional process this time around. I do want to note the addition of the requirement of on-site credit card processing, which will certainly help residents who might not have cash on them in the event that their vehicle needs to be towed. That provision will go into effect, I believe, at the latest, the 1st of next year. So that option is available to you. One item that didn't make the RFP, which it's my own fault, the manager did share the proposal to all of us and ask for recommendations, was basically waiving the storage fee when Kuhn Auto Body isn't open. You see, if you're not open on the weekends, you basically have your vehicle held hostage for 2 days, to which you're still paying that $60 or possibly $80 fee each day. That's not fair to our residents. But unfortunately, that only came to my mind last week, and the proposal was well on its way by then. So at any rate, I want to thank you for the process.
You're welcome.
Any further public comment? I'm sorry, any further comment from council? Roll call, please.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Waldron,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp,
Yes.
Councilman Crestis,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese.
Yes.
Resolution 32 approved.
May I get a motion for item 6E?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Waldron.
I make a motion to approve item 6E, 2024-34, exercising the optional contract year with CWM Environmental, Inc. in the amount of $140,000 for the period October 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2025.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Councilman Waldron,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp,
Yes.
Councilman Crestis,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio.
Yes.
Resolution 33 approved.
That was 34. I think we
I think we
skipped
swapped
33
them, yeah.
accidentally.
We just approved item 6E.
Okay.
It's 34 approved.
That might have been my
So we
fault,
need to
sorry.
go back and approve.
You need to do 33.
Mayor, I'd
Resolution
like to make
33.
a motion to approve.
One moment, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What did you say?
We went out of order. We have to go back and approve D.
D, okay. I'm sorry, excuse me. May I get a motion for item 6D?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Fascio.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-33, approving an agreement with W.M. Aiken and Sons in the amount of $81,040 for Contract A and $216,170 for Contract B for storm sewer upgrades on Loretta and Whittier Drives.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Sapp, Councilman Crestis,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Waldron.
Yes.
Resolution 33 approved. Next on the agenda, we have the introduction of ordinances section, and since the last meeting, there's been some activity here, one of which is our Traffic Safety Committee is recommending that Penn Hills Mayor and Council look at parking changes on Hershey Road. That's something that is included for their consideration. It's not being voted on tonight to change the parking on Hershey Road. It's just introducing the ordinance for the mayor and council to consider. The reason for this is it's coming as a request from Duquesne Light. Duquesne Light is having issues with trucks that are hauling telephone poles, making those turns. So if this is something that the mayor and council are inclined to do, it would appear on next month's agenda. And we've also made it a policy as well. It was done previously that before the mayor and council vote on a parking change, we do contact the residents about it. That's something that we've done. So we'll have to see whether the mayor and council are inclined to do this, but it's coming as a request from Duquesne Light on a safety matter. So on something like this, I think my recommendation would be to look at it very closely. Next, Councilman Crestis introduced an ordinance a few months ago pertaining to the conduct of the meetings. And so there was a draft agenda, a draft ordinance that was included for that. But since that time, there hasn't been a lot of discussion about it. There hasn't been a lot of changes made to it. So presumably tonight, this evening, or at a time between now and the next meeting or next meetings, there would be some back and forth with council to determine what ordinance they wanted to potentially vote on. Or if it had to be an ordinance, it could also just be a policy or a resolution. But the gist of the ordinance is to allow for more information sharing at the public meeting that you were attending this evening. And just, it wasn't made clear, but along those same lines, in the agenda this evening, you'll see that there's a financial report year-to-date for July that appears on the agenda this evening. So when we do the agendas from now on, we're going to be sending out a year-to-date budget report. That's going to become more important very soon as we work on our budget. But at that point, that's what I have to sort of set the stage for the ordinance that you had introduced.
Deputy Mayor Sapp, we've moved to the council comments. Do you have any comments?
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Fascio?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Crestis?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Just a few items. I actually have a question. I believe it'll be for Mr. Minsterman on the very end there. We'll get him in the action here. Just curious what the status is of the Universal Road Eye Connector project. I believe involves both the county and Penn Hills. And the reason I'm curious is, being a resident who drives that every day, I expected to see that moving by now. And any updates on that project, sir?
Are you talking about the Old William Penn Highway project?
No. I thought there was a project of the corridor there between Universal and Road Eye, a widening project.
I could speak to that, Rick.
Okay.
There was a meeting last week held.
Yes.
Betsy Zhang. Like I said, Kyle was there. Kyle from Gateway was at the meeting with Betsy and I. So you can recap if you like, but if not, I can answer the question as well.
Yeah, go ahead, and I can follow up.
I
with
appreciate
yours.
it. Thank you.
Sure, and I'll try to answer in a way that maybe makes sense for everyone that's here. But what Councilman Creston is referring to, and if there was a way to have a map up on the screen, that would be ideal, but there's not. But there's a portion of Universal Road that connects Road Eye Road that a lot of the times the traffic backs up there. It's really 2 lanes, but sometimes it pretends to be 3. And so there is a grant, there's a federal grant that is going to support sidewalk improvements on Road Eye Road. And as part of that project, we've asked PennDOT, because that's whose money it is, that's who's administering the money, I should say. It's federal money, but PennDOT's administering it. We asked them to look at the feasibility of when the Road Eye Road project is being designed, a way to widen that in order to make traffic less congested, so it doesn't back up, so that it actually is 3 lanes. So that's something that's being evaluated right now. That's the quick answer is it's being evaluated from a cost standpoint, perhaps the best way of doing that if that's feasible, in conjunction with this. So.
Perfect, thank you, and I'll keep my fingers and toes crossed on that one. I do want to quickly thank the Rotary Club and Penn Hill CDC for organizing the Community Cleanup Day a couple weeks ago. It's both a great success and disheartening to hear that we picked up over 400 bags of trash in about 3 hours. This involved over 30 organizations across the community. It was an amazing showing of the community coming together and supporting a single cause. This covered, I believe, just over 6 miles of road. And if you know Penn Hills, there's over, I believe, 200 miles of road in our community. So the fact that there were 400 bags of trash on 6 miles, like I said, it's a little disheartening, but also to all those volunteers, your hard work, is recognized, and we see the improvements when we drive down those roads every day. So thank you. Mr. Chobe, and with regards to the library board, amazing numbers of the articles being checked out in the year thus far. I am hopeful that we can get some of your recommended board members on the agenda. We need to get that done for these folks. Let's shoot to get that on the agenda at our next meeting in September. And then finally, I would like to briefly talk about the possibility for our budget next year of running a pilot of 2 streets that residents have told me repeatedly could use some speed humps, as these roads have become quite hazardous for the residents. One being Hershey Road, which, as you may know, is a shortcut, and then also Jefferson Heights. Residents have approached me saying that in one instance, their retaining wall was hit 3 times by a vehicle speeding. In another instance, there's been repeated accidents and cars ignoring the speed limit and going over 55. I think 2 to 3 wisely placed speed humps on those streets could be a good pilot, see if it reduces the speeding problems there. So hopefully something we can consider as we consider our budget for next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Waldron.
Just supporting what Sean said there regarding the library board appointments. Mr. Chobe was here, and he stated that they solicited applications for the board. They received 30 applications. They've narrowed that down to 8 or 10 that they particularly liked, and submitted that to mayor and council several months ago in support of them continuing their business the way they must. I think it's not a tall ask for us to find 4 off that list and put them up for consideration at the September council meeting. And also, just one final word to the parents of Westinghouse Arts Academy students here, if there are any of you left. I understand the anger, I really do. I would be angry if I was in your position as well. But as we've said over and over, there's only so much we can do from a legislative standpoint, which is pretty much nothing. But I will say that I think all of us are pretty committed to doing whatever we can in this situation, and I myself will be doing so as well. I do have some colleagues/friends on the school board. I will be talking to them and try to get an understanding of what's actually happening here. And if there's anything I can do, we can do. I think we're committed to doing that.
Thank you. I echo the thank yous. We thank Rotary, we thank the CDC, we thank every individual and group that volunteered for the Community Cleanup Day. I think that really does speak volumes. Penn Hills has a fabulous volunteer base. I see some regulars here in the audience right now. I see Betty Arnth here, and Bill and Maureen Mounts, and I see Rick Duncan, and if I'm missing anybody, please forgive me, but I do think Jim Beck is back there. I think Melissa Waldron's back there. A big thank you goes out, because I do think that's one of the things. Penn Hills is the largest municipality outside. We are the largest suburb outside of Pittsburgh with close to 30 neighborhoods, and yet it has a small town feel whenever we all get together and when people do those sorts of things. I personally was out of town that day. I was on vacation, so I could not thank everybody personally, but I did do my mayor's message, and a big thank you to everybody. And I will just reiterate that was a group that was started by Faith Milazzo, and I think Becky Finaletta was part of that. And it's pretty gratifying, I'm sure, for them to see that it's growing, and I hope it continues to grow. One of the gentlemen who was here tonight said something to the effect that we are supposed to be working with other officials. We do. Please make no mistake about it. We reach out to federal, county, state, other local officials. We do reach out, and we work well with them. and we will continue to do that. We don't always agree on everything, but we all agree on one thing. We want the betterment for Penn Hills, because every one of us up here are Penn Hills residents. We all live in Penn Hills. And I often say we don't all live in the same house, but we all call Penn Hills home. So I genuinely believe that if any of us have disagreements, we're all working toward the betterment and improvement of our home. Having said that, thank you so very much for being here, and hope to see you at the next meeting. This meeting's adjourned.
Good night. Hey, Bill.